somebody who's never been to a masjid, who's not Muslim coming in, will say, okay, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, they're all wearing thobes. Somehow they are linked. Same with this, a hat. If they walk to the masjid, they see a number of people wearing hats. They will say that these people are somehow linked. If you go to watch football, if you imagine you are a Martian, just came to Earth, and you went to see Arsenal, Manchester United play, you will notice something, whereas you don't know the rules of the game, you'll notice that they are all human beings, and one group is wearing the same one color, and the other group is wearing the same color. These are symbolisms, showing that people somehow are linked together. If you were to go onto the internet and look at pictures of many rap artists, you will see certain symbolisms they use in photographs. For example, covering of the left eye. Or pointing to the eyes. The sign of Behomet or the Baphomet, like this. Many people. Now you may say, well, they're just doing this for the photograph. But we ask ourselves, in the culture that we live in, when you go take a picture, do you normally do this? No. When you take a picture, do you normally do this? The answer again is no. It means something. And these are occult symbolisms. When I do this, or when I do this, I am saying something. But I'm not saying it to the ordinary man and woman. You don't understand what this means. But I'm saying to other people. Those people are from my group and they understand. Same as this. Shake my hand, shake. When you see me shaking my hand and I do this, this is a symbolism. To many people here, it's a handshake. But this here, placing the thumb here towards the half part of the hand, means something else. This means I belong to a certain organization or society, a fraternity as they're known in America, a secret society, where you don't become a member by paying a fee, but rather you are invited. If we look at certain rappers like Jay-Z, Jay-Z's blowing up the place now. He's like the #1 rapper, I think. If we look at Jay-Z and his videos, and I don't ask anybody to look at his videos, but his photographs, we see somebody openly advocating this occultism. And if you listen to his music, you hear it. In his song, Get Your Mind Right, Miami, he says, cross over to The Rock. The Rock is his organization. Make yourself hot. The topic of discussion in every nail shop. It's a secret society. All we ask is trust. So Jay-Z himself is telling you openly that The Rock, the ROC, his organization and company, it is a secret society. It is run and organized and manned by those people who think the way he thinks. And all they ask is trust. Now Jay-Z, if we were to look at him as an individual, we don't have time to go through everything. He has one record called On the Next One. If we look at the video, we see this. The skull of Behomet. Behomet is what they call a false deity. And to us as Muslims, everything that is worshipped besides Allah is a false deity. But Behomet is a deity. And you may have seen Behomet represented by the skull of a goat with horns, the abdomen, the body of a woman, and the rest may be a man, or usually the feet of a goat. Now this deity has been worshipped by people, particularly Satanists. If you see this on the next one video, he has the skull, that is the skull of a goat. Then the bloody skull, that is a skull with blood being poured into it or coming out of it. Then symbolic of this is people drinking blood. All these things, brothers and sisters, are symbolisms or rituals taken out of Satanism. Why then would you ask somebody from Brooklyn? He's from the ghetto. He's not from some kind of middle-class upbringing. Why would he use this in his music? Why would he say these things? Also, if we look at Jay-Z, he has a company called, he has a clothing company called Rockaware. Now, Rockaware, you could go onto the internet, you'll see them. They produce clothing, hip clothing for young men and women. One of the t-shirts that they have produced, from amongst the t-shirts they have produced, has the emblem of skull and bones. I cannot join it. But those people from elite families, like the Bush family, for example, Bush the father, the son, and the grandson are members of Skull and Bones. It's an elite organization. On this t-shirt, you have their emblem. They have a symbol. And also, under the symbol, it says, do what thou wilt. Do what thou wilt. Meaning, do whatever you want to do. Do what thou wilt, brothers and sisters, was the basis of an immoral law by the name of Aleister Crowley, or often pronounced Crowley. Aleister Crowley was a man who was born in the late 1800s, and he's somebody who, while coming from a devout Christian family, himself rebelled when he went to university. And his rebellion took him from women, drugs, all the way to Satanism. And Aleister Crowley spent much of his life traveling to different parts of the world, preaching according to Satanism. And so, he had a small group in Sicily. Sicily is next door to, or a part of Italy. And there they had a little commune, a place where they would live together. And in this commune, they would perform many rites of the devil, many acts of worship. Even, and I'm sorry to say this in a masjid, and in front of my respected elders, copulating with animals as part of their rituals. And this man, Aleister Crowley, wrote books on magic and advocated magic. And before his death, he considered himself to be the beast, the mythical beast of 666 of the revelations in the Bible, or the Dajjal as we know it in Islam. He considered himself to be the Dajjal. And he got this through one of his wives, through a being, and of course we would say it was an evil jinn, communicating to him and telling him who he thought he was. That is the beast. And Aleister Crowley, his life was just a life of indulging, doing whatever you want to do, with no boundaries and no limits. And so we see people like Jay-Z with t-shirts with this cardinal principle of Aleister Crowley, do what thou wilt. The last of these levels, brothers and sisters, is the level of deification. Deification means to make something a deity or a god that you worship. Deification means to make humans, animals, statues, stones, even ideas to be God. That which you worship, that thing that all acts of worship are for and due to. If we look at contemporary rap music as an example, we can see the shaitan in the song through deification and hell. There are a number of rap groups, and this is particularly from the 1980s, who in their lyrics and their videos promote ideologies, religious ideas that are linked to making God a man. One of the most prominent of these ideas is the creed of the Nation of Islam, or the creed of the 5% Nation. The Nation of Islam is an organization founded in the 1930s by a man by the name of Fard Muhammad. Fard Muhammad came to African Americans in the ghettos of Detroit and other urban cities of America, and he claimed that he was a prophet from Mecca, sent to help African Americans who at that time were in a time of segregation and extreme racial prejudice, to call them to their original religion called Islam. Now, for those of us who do not know about the Nation of Islam, we may think it's a good thing. This man came from Mecca to call people to Islam. However, Father Muhammad was not from Mecca, and the type of Islam he called to wasn't the Islam of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This Islam of the Nation of Islam is such that they believe that Father Muhammad is a God. He's Allah. And that a man by the name of Elijah Muhammad is his messenger. He's a prophet sent to African Americans to call them away from the evils of America. And part of the creed of this organization is not just to worship Father Muhammad as Allah, but they also believe in an idea of having elders. There are 12 elders who are responsible for what happens to the creation. This they've taken from Sufism, extreme Sufism. In Sufism they are called Aqtab. We hear the name Qutub mentioned by Sufis. But these 12 individuals are responsible for what happens in creation. And every 1,000 years, one of them becomes an Allah of that time. And when he becomes an Allah of that time, he brings a new Quran, a new holy book. And this organization was very prominent in the 1960s, especially because of a man by the name of Al-Hajj Malik al-Shabazz, known as Malcolm X, who dedicated many years, decades of his life, calling to the creed and calling to Elijah Muhammad. However, walillahi alhamd, before he died, openly stated that Elijah Muhammad wasn't a prophet. In fact, he was a fake, who didn't even believe in himself. That Elijah Muhammad had over 18 different wives, and I'm being polite here because they're young children, and that the whole Islam of the Nation of Islam was false and corrupted. And this is why he was killed, for exposing the truths of the Nation of Islam. The 5% Nation, brothers and sisters, is an offshoot of the Nation of Islam. It's a kind of street movement. A particular individual by the name of Clarence 13X, in the Nation of Islam, when you first join them, they say your surname is a slave name, which is largely true. Most people of African descent in the West, the Caribbean, America, their origins come from slavery. So they say, this is not your original name. It's a name given to you. So what they then do is take away the surname of the person and give them an X. So for example, my name is Talib Alexander. They would say, okay, Talib, you are now Talib X. Now, if there were 3 or 4 Talibs before me, 1, 2, 3, 4 Talibs before me, then when I get my X, I become Talib 5X. I'm the 5th. So this individual, Clarence 13X, he was kicked out of the Nation of Islam by Malcolm X in the 1960s. What this individual did was to set up his own organization, especially amongst young teenage people. And he taught the doctrines of the Nation of Islam, which is, ultimately, that all black people, all people of African descent are God. And that all white people, people of European descent, are the devils. This is what they believe. And this ideology is repudiated by Islam. Real Sunni Orthodox Islam holds this to be heresy. But the Nation of Islam, this pseudo-Islamic cult, this is their belief. And so the 5% Nation, unlike the Nation of Islam, the 5% Nation, the Nation of Islam, they have a hierarchy, a leadership structure. The 5% Nation, you are free.